This week on Tokyo 2020 Reflection Series, we interview the new Rowing South Africa head coach Tiago Loureiro, who will be nurturing the rowers ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics, focusing on technical skills and diversity. SA rowers Sandero Torres and Kirsten McCann and Paralympian Reinhardt Hamman also reflect on their experiences at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
My journey started probably like 99% of any other junior coach. I started coaching at my former school, which I rowed at myself. And then I started coaching an under 14 and under 15 crew, and that crew did pretty well. And then under 15, that same crew went on to win the national championship, which is quite a big deal because there's only one real school that tends to win that event. So I started realizing that maybe I had a knack for coaching. And it was history since. I got headhunted by a school down the road, a private school. And then I started my tenure there for 11 years. And from that, I started coaching Rowing South Africa from a junior level to an under 23 level. So I've just come through the ranks over time. Roger Barrow was my mentor, and he actually mentored me up to my first Olympic Games, and that was in 2016 in Rio. And from there, I stepped in and progressed onwards, and now I'm standing here in front of you as the national head coach for Rowing South Africa. The reality is, I already started planning. In that first conversation, I started planning how, what, when, where, and how are we going to succeed at the next Olympic Games. And my planning started with that initial telephone conversation, and it's actually that realization that I had that I thought, yes, I'm ready for this. I'd say the three basic fundamentals is I want to educate. I want coaches around the country to be knowledgeable, because they are going to be coaching our future generation. So my first port of call is to educate all coaches across the country, to get us to a place where we are technically very good, our program is very good, and we are nurturing young athletes to where we want to be in Paris 2024 and London. Not London, LA 2028. So knowledge is the first key. And then I want to increase and promote diversity and inclusivity. And between those three things, I have more than enough work to be able to set us on this next phase.
I've been rowing for about 8 years. So our training camp leading up to the games in South Africa, we first went to Lesotho, up in the mountains. It's a high altitude training camp that we go to just to prepare. It's isolated, so we're a bit safer from COVID, and there's less distractions up there. When I got the news that I was going to be part of the team to go to Tokyo, I was very excited. I think one of the best feelings I've ever had. I mean, it's what we've been working for the past 4 years, actually 5 years of this cycle. So it was a dream come true. I mean, the first part of trying to get the goal is actually being able to get there. So when we discovered we were going to go, it was very exciting news, yeah. So we went on a pre-Olympic camp in Japan to Toyama. It's a more rural sort of part of Japan. Very beautiful, also very mountainous, and we were isolated in a very sort of beautiful lake there that we were able to train on. The most memorable moments moving into the Olympic Village, I think, was just the scale of it all. I think seeing identical buildings, but everyone's flags just dressing all the buildings was sort of gave you an idea of how big this event really was. I mean, I always knew the Olympics was huge, but when you get there, everywhere you look, it's just athletes, different sizes and shapes, but everyone so fit and strong in their own sort of niche. So I think that was the most memorable moment, is just the scale, and everyone around you is just athletic, which is it's intimidating but very cool at the same time. The key learnings for me post-Tokyo, I think, was that sport is brutal. You can put everything into it and still come out without the result. So I think a lot of things need to sort of line up for you to get the result at the end of the day. It's not just about how much you want it. So I think that going forward will teach me a lot. It's not always about going harder. It's not always about putting more time in. Sometimes it's just about being smarter and patient and more mature.
I've been rowing now, if I include include my school days for about 21 years. I feel that as a female in rowing, there haven't been that many obstacles. I feel that we've been very fairly treated in the rowing setup. I can't say that I've ever been excluded because of being a female, so I feel very fortunate for my journey of being given opportunity. We didn't qualify for the Tokyo2020 or 2021 games. I mean, it was hugely disappointing. I am definitely very competitive and I like to be the best, and then when you realize you're out of it, I think there was a lot of shock and disbelief at first, because I thought that we were on track to being able to put ourselves in a qualifying spot, which we weren't able to do. And so there was a lot of like heartbreak in that, but I think I am a very positive person, so then I just, you've got to pull yourself together. I also think there's so much going on in the world at the moment that I was able to put my own sorrow and sadness aside and actually realize I was just really fortunate to be given the opportunity to go to train as an athlete, and so I was able to move forward quite easily when I put my disappointment in the context of other people and what's happened in the past 2 years. So I think I didn't let it get me down too much. I continued training with the goal of possibly continuing and putting myself in a good position forward. So I feel that that's maybe how I dealt with it. Just looking at my disappointment relative to other people and just being able to appreciate that there were people better than me, and I wanted to be able to go to the Olympics and be in the position of being in a medal, and if we weren't able to qualify, that means we weren't able to put ourselves in that position. So that also helped put it in context. Yes, there's disappointment, but you cannot let that get you down. It can't be what defines you. You've got to, so many people do let like a disappointment or a bad result define you, but it doesn't. I'm so much better and I'm so much bigger than that as a person. And so to let those disappointments actually fuel me in a better way. What are the positives from that? What did I learn? What maybe was I lacking leading up to that? And I think it helps you keep you very honest and both feet on the ground so that you can move forward and be actually a better athlete in the end. So you take those and learn from them, and then you can be better going forward.
I would love to take this opportunity to thank the National Lottery Commission for the support in the past, and I ask that you back us for the next journey and the next cycle, because we're not going to disappoint.
To the National Lottery Commission, I just want to say thank you. None of the sort of what we're able to do overseas would be possible without you guys. I've been involved with the team for 5 years, and everyone makes it sort of, as you get here, you know that this is not possible. We can't go overseas, and we can't race at the highest level without the support you guys give us. So we really, really appreciate it, and thank you.
My interaction with the National Lottery Commission has always been so positive. It's been because of the National Lottery Commission that I've actually been able to row professionally as an athlete and full time. I think that if we're looking at other countries, they've also got often big funding schemes, and they've set the standard high where you have to be a full-time athlete. And so I want to say thank you to the National Lotteries Commission for the previous support that I've received, allowing me to achieve some of my goals and to hopefully continue achieving my goals. So my biggest message is thank you for the support.
Yeah, so the event went off quite smoothly in my first throw, and the first round was just something out of the history books, really. To get someone that just comes out there and throws 60 meters at the time was really shocking, and I can tell you now that it definitely threw my competition. That's what cost me a medal, and I think in the long run one has to look at it and say, the best athlete won. I've had lots of time to reflect on the competition and what the results of that competition meant for me. Yes, it made somewhat of an easier decision for me to retire after Tokyo. But nonetheless, if I had won a medal, I would have come to the same conclusion. I was actually the very first athlete to fly back for Team South Africa for the Paralympic Games. So it was very lonely, but it also gave me a lot of time to think, about 30 hours to think on the plane. And to come to a decision in my head as to what the plan is, what my future looks like. But a lot went through my head. Firstly, a lot of anger, a lot of confusion. The decision to retire in essence came after the event, because there's a lot of stuff that unfolded after the event, and a lot of decisions were made, and we had to take a real in-depth look at what it will take to reach a medal in Paris 2024. The National Lotteries Commission funding came through at such an incredible moment that I didn't know whether I wanted to carry on at that stage, whether I was truly suffering from PTSD with regards to the sport. And then just one day I get a phone call and to say, hey, listen, National Lotteries has seen you, and they have selected you as one of the few athletes to receive funding. Now that money, I can tell you, has gone so far, and I don't think there's enough words to say thank you to the National Lotteries Commission for all that they've done, their belief, their trust, and their faith in me as an athlete, and most importantly as a Paralympic athlete and a Paralympian. Words can't say enough.
The Sports Trust acts as an implementation partner to their trustees, partners and corporate donors. We wish to thank the National Lotteries Commission for their support, ensuring that these athletes could live their dreams. The Sports Trust Corporate Quiz Challenge theme Prison Break takes place on Thursday the 27th of October at the Prison Break venue in Loneal, Johannesburg.